what is your experience leading up to putting The Last of Us on for the first time? Like, tell me about your background with this.
Sure. It's kind of interesting in some ways, but not that surprising considering my poor gaming habits. I had this game on the PS3. In fact, I think it came with my PS3. And I played it. I played probably about 2 to 3 hours, if that. And the general consensus with the game is I just wasn't really in love with it. There was nothing that was gravitating. There was nothing that was compelling enough for me to keep going. And I felt like it was just kind of moving stuff around and picking up ladders and placing them on buildings. And, the story seemed intriguing, but there was just nothing there for me that wanted me to continue the game.
Yeah.
Or led me to continue the game, rather.
I sort of had a similar experience. I had a copy for the PS3 and, I had spent about 2 or 3 hours with it, so I didn't get very far into the game itself. But much like you, I enjoyed what I had played, but it didn't really jump out at me and strike me. And as I had circled back to the game this time around, I had gotten to the part that I had, initially stopped at. And in my mind, I had played much more of the game than I actually did. I thought I had 6 or 7 hours into this game, or I think I was telling people I was a third of the way through, and I barely got into the story, and I had barely gotten into what actually makes The Last of Us a fantastic game.
Same. I think saying that I played 2 to 3 hours is probably pretty ambitious. It was probably more like an hour.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to judge the time, but that's where it started, and I think I tried it again on PS3, and then after I got the PS4, it came with the PS4 again. It was another one of those bundled packages, and again, I played about probably an hour, and that was it. And it was just the same kind of feeling, and put it to rest. And I thought to myself, eventually I'll get to this because I do want to understand why it's received so many accolades.
Yeah. With me, I ended up picking up a copy of it through Amazon for the PS4. They had a deal on the remaster, and it was one of those deals where you get Amazon credit if you purchase certain games or whatever. They'll give you a $15 gift card or a $10 gift card or what, I don't remember the details. But the game essentially was free because the gift card that they gave out was the same value as the cost of the game. So I ended up just washing the total on that, and I spent my $10. I got my $10 back, and I put it on the shelf in the shrink wrap, and I'm like, I do want to play you, but not yet.
Story of our lives.
And I didn't know when yet would be until I want to say maybe 3 or 4 months ago. I was having a chat with one of the guys at work, Brian. He's a big fan of the podcast, I know. Brian, thanks for listening, buddy. But he flat out looked me straight in the eyes, and he just told me that it's one of his favorite games of all time, and I think he said he's played it through it about 20 or so times.
Wow.
And it floored me. And when I was listening to him talk and elaborate on this game and what it meant to him, that sold me. I'm like, all right, I want to be part of the conversation when the sequel comes out, but this seals the deal. I have to play this game. So I think starting around, let's see here, I finished Doom. I needed a little bit of a break from the heaviness of life, so I kind of dabbled in a couple other things, and then I started this game. And once I got to the point that I had previously gotten to the first time around and got through that, it wasn't shortly after that the game kind of got its hooks in me. And I was starting
That's a good way of describing it.
Yeah, I started to see what other people were seeing,
Yeah, it takes time. It's a slow birthing, if you will, and it's just one of those games that it does kind of pop off immediately with some pretty intense sequences and cinematics and things of that nature. But as far as gameplay, it takes time. It's a slow burn.